Hey y'all, I am doing the follow-up video today to my previous postpartum chat that I did about a month ago. So we're gonna be talking all things postpartum for mama and baby in this video today. My daughter is 12 weeks old, so we are actually ending that postpartum 4th trimester season, her newborn stage, which is so sad because this is one of my favorite stages, is that early postpartum season, just relearning yourself as a mom. Even if you're not a first-time mom, there's a relearning process every time. But I truly believe the postpartum season does not end at that 4th trimester at the 12-week mark, which we're going to talk about today. I personally don't actually feel myself until close to a year, like my old self. I don't think we ever go back to our old selves when we become moms, but kind of like physically and just starting to feel more normal again around a year. Anyways, that's what this video is going to focus on today. I also am going to be answering some of y'all's questions at the end of this video. I put up a question box on my Instagram asking for postpartum questions and had about 5 or 6 that I'm going to answer today. So stay to the end for that. If you don't follow me on Instagram, that's a great way to connect with me a little more than here on YouTube, because I'm very active in my direct messages. Also, like question poll boxes like I'm going to be answering today. So jumping right in, I love all things postpartum. I'm a mama of 3 and have truly learned so much with my 3 children and learned so many different things in each postpartum season. I feel like this postpartum season I have grown the most, and I'm just wanting to share with y'all all that I've learned and researched and hopes that it helps some of you guys, because this has truly been the most beautiful postpartum season for me yet. I know that's really hard for many mamas, but I think there is a fix that is not talked about enough, and I talked a lot about that in my previous video, so check that one out. I'll link it down below if you missed it, but I talk much more in detail about mineral depletion, mineral deficiencies in the postpartum season. If you are feeling that like you're not yourself, which you don't feel yourself at the beginning of the postpartum season, but you'll slowly start to be feeling yourself again. But if that's not happening and you're just feeling so drained and anxious all the time, and maybe you're getting angry at your baby, your husband all the time, because that was me in my last, especially my first postpartum season, I would just get angry at my baby for no reason. That anxiety and that twinge of like anger and just all the things that come with postpartum, that can truly be reversed and changed by remineralizing what your body is lacking. When we have a baby, when we grow a baby for 9 months, give birth to a baby, which is very traumatic on our bodies, and then if you're breastfeeding and you're nourishing your baby with your milk, that is a lot of demand on our bodies, and a lot of minerals are lost and pushed to our babies, and we have to know how to properly replenish those. And if we don't, that is when all those postpartum feelings start to arise, the hormone imbalances, the things that many people turn to a pill for. And doctors say, well, take this pill and you'll feel better. Yes, you might, but you are suppressing those true mineral needs into your body. And when you eventually start feeling yourself again and you feel you can get off of that pill, whatever it may be, all those things are going to come back. Now, at this point, your baby's going to be older and you're not going to link it to postpartum issues, but it's still there. You just suppressed it with a pill. So addressing these in pregnancy as well as in postpartum is so beneficial, and you will see so much of a more beautiful postpartum season. I have lots of videos talking about what I eat and these minerals I'm talking about in other videos, so I'll link some of those below for y'all. But I'll link a podcast down below that talks about this in much more detail, much more experience in this than I have. I'm just giving y'all my personal experience. That podcast will give you a lot more insight as well. But our bodies go through so much in the pregnancy season, the birth, and the postpartum. We've got to replenish those. And if you do, your postpartum season will be a world of a difference. There's just so much beauty in this season, and I feel so terrible that so many mamas miss out on that because they're just so depleted and they don't understand what to do and where to turn, and that food and mineral support is the answer. And that's how God intended this season to be, if we replenish and renourish our bodies properly. So there is much more on that in the previous video as well as in the podcast. I'll link below for you guys if you want to learn more on that and how you can properly repair, replenish, renourish your body in this season. As far as healing in this postpartum season, this is another thing that's kind of new for me now, is really leaning into breath work. So when we are pregnant, our transverse abdominis, that deep core, is truly stretched to the max, as well as our pelvic floor. Our pelvic floor is stretched up to 200 times, which is amazing that our bodies and our muscles can stretch like that to bring a baby into this world, but they have to be repaired. If they are not repaired, that is when things such as incontinence, where you pee yourself when you cough, laugh, jump, sneeze, y'all know what I'm talking about. that is when that comes into play, as well as the like pelvic pain. You may have some prolapse. All of that will go back to properly retraining your diaphragm, your deep core, your transverse abdominis, your pelvic floor to hold it in. So I have been doing a program, which I'm not affiliated with them at any means. I'm not promoting this. I'm just telling you what I'm doing, called Get Mom Strong. They have a free trial you can do. You can also do a lot from her Instagram page. You don't have to pay for the program. But I have learned so much about breath work through this program. She has an Instagram account. I'll link it below for you if you want to just delve into some free information. She shares pretty much all of this for free on her Instagram. You just have it all compiled in one place if you get the app, which is what I currently have. So basically, when we breathe, we should be inhaling and our tummies go out, and then we exhale, we bring it in and up. So our pelvic floor is being lifted when we exhale. That pulls up that pelvic floor in relation with our diaphragm, so they kind of work together. So when we inhale, things go down. When we exhale, things go up. I'll leave a graphic for y'all that makes more sense. But this was truly mind-blowing to me and has changed my entire breath, the way I breathe, the way my abdominal pulls in. That has truly changed my entire core already. Just the feeling of having things pulling themselves in, and doing this when you exercise is so important, because many times when we're exercising, we're putting strain on that pelvic floor, further damaging it already enough from what it endured during birth. That's just what I wanted to quickly touch on, is that breath work and that retraining of our minds to breathe properly. Many of us have been breathing backwards our entire lives. Since when we were in those teen ages, we learned to suck in when we breathe, and many women, when they're told to inhale, they'll go and they take a big breath into their chest, when really we're supposed to be breathing out into our belly. And then when we exhale, everything comes up and lifts that pelvic floor, brings those abdominals in, and truly retrains that deep core to hold itself like a corset, like our core is supposed to. But during pregnancy, it stretches out and we have to retrain it. Just something I never really paid attention to in my first 2 postpartums. I just started back exercising, doing whatever I wanted, and was probably wrecking my pelvic floor even more, not properly healing it like I am now. So now we will jump into some of your guys' questions. Like I said, I left a question box on my Instagram, and some of you left me some really great questions. I'm going to pick a few of those. I asked, what is your co-sleeping setup and how does intimacy work once that time comes back? My baby is only 1 week old, and we're back. Okay, so co-sleeping. We do co-sleep. I've shared about that in other videos. Did not co-sleep with my first child, but my last 2 daughters I have. So, and it's been a world of a difference from sleep training with my son. So co-sleeping, basically, my husband and I, we have a king bed. He sleeps on his side, and I scoot my pillow about halfway over. And let me just show y'all. So I will scoot my pillow like this. There's about a 1 foot to 1.5 foot gap for her to lay. So she just kind of lays right here. And I sideline nurse her on my pillow. I lay on my side most of the night. She nurses on and off. So that's how we keep it safe. Covers stay low enough below her. I do tie my hair back in a braid or a low ponytail bun to keep my hair out of her face, because that is a safety concern. So there's lots of safe co-sleeping research out there. You just have to do it safely. And I think it's truly an amazing phenomena with breastfeeding mamas, because our sleep cycles actually sync with our babies. I'm not sure about this if you're not a breastfeeding mama, but I can totally give a testimony to it for me as a breastfeeding mom. So when I'm in a deep sleep and then she stirs me awake, I'm immediately woken up and I'm like, wow, I'm perfectly fine. I just had a really good rest. Now she's awake, I'm gonna tend to her, and I'm in a light sleep while I'm nursing her. And then we kind of just go through that sync all night. I go into a deep sleep. I'm really still. I know at all times where she is. It's just kind of like a subconscious maternal instinct. It's really crazy. If you've ever felt that and you're a co-sleeping mama, please let me know down below. Let other mamas know it really is a real thing. You are just so in tune with your baby when you're breastfeeding and co-sleeping with them. It's beautiful how God wired our brains as mamas. So I truly feel comfortable co-sleeping, but I do take the precautions of tying my hair back, moving the pillows out of her face, pulling the covers down so she doesn't get wrapped in them, and that's just kind of how we co-sleep. All right, the other part of that question was about intimacy. Okay, so TMI, sorry guys if you don't want to know about this, but she asked it, so I'm going to answer it. Intimacy is difficult when you have a baby in your bed. Yes, it is. You have to get creative. Your husband or you kind of just have to realize this is a season. This is a season of life. It is just easier for us to have her co-sleep. My husband truly realizes how much more rested and good we feel this time versus we did with our son when we did not co-sleep, and is okay with that. She's in our bed. We just have to get creative about intimacy. So you can either put baby to sleep on your side of the bed, do the roll away, go over to your husband's side of the bed. You can go into the living room. You can just get creative. I mean, it's not that difficult. You don't always have to do it in the bed. Just sorry if that's a little too much information for you guys, but someone asked it. I know I used to wonder that too. I know other mamas are wondering that, so that's pretty much it. Just get creative. It is a little odd with baby in bed, but you get over it. But that's kind of how we approach it. Let me know if y'all have any other tips below to share. It's just kind of a season that we both understand that it is so much easier to co-sleep and have baby in our bed than it is not to co-sleep, because we've done it both ways. Thank you to the Sleep Mama who did ask me that question. Next question pertains to what are some reflux remedies, and do you swaddle your daughter while co-sleeping? Okay, swaddling, we'll go to that one first because we just talked about co-sleeping. So we do not swaddle while co-sleeping, although I did swaddle my previous child while we co-slept, only because I didn't know any different, because we had swaddled our first child, so I just swaddled my second child. But we used the arms up swaddle and it worked fine. She laid beside us in her swaddle, nursed just fine. But with Eliza, we do not swaddle. Other part of that question was, what are some reflux remedies? I hate to tell you, there's no quick fix for reflux, because reflux, colic, gas, any continual like stomach issue with babies is a gut issue, a gut microbiome. So when babies are born, they inherit mama's gut microbiome. Mama didn't already have a good one to start with. Baby's gonna probably start out with a pretty poor one too. And this was us with my first pregnancy. I did not know any of this. I did not know anything about healing my gut, taking care of my gut health, and my child had terrible acid reflux. And we went the medical route and got him on all these pills, and not pills, all these medications and drops, and none of it helped. It actually got worse. Restoring and healing your baby's gut is going to be the only true way to remedy reflux. So the easiest way to do that is through probiotics. We hear probiotics all the time. The easiest way to do that is, if you're a breastfeeding mama, to eat it yourself. Improve your diet, and that will improve it in your breast milk and be passed to your baby, which will in turn heal their gut, help their gut build itself back up. Some ways that you can improve your diet as a mama if you're breastfeeding: eating bone broth. I talk about bone broth all the time. It is the most healing food you can consume, I believe. The gelatin and the collagen will help to heal and seal that gut lining for mama, which will in turn pass to baby. Also, any fermented foods, so sauerkraut and yogurt are two of my favorites. Also, getting lots of vitamin D, so from the sun, natural vitamin D. That's also going to help heal and restore our gut. So vitamin D for mama, vitamin D for baby. That would be my advice on reflux. It's not going to be a quick fix, unfortunately. Our medical world wants to give quick fixes, quick medication to fix all of these things, but that's not truly treating the root cause of why our babies are facing these things to start with. And if we can get to the root cause of it, it's going to be so much better, so much more healing for our child in the long run. The next question is, how do you treat coughs, colds, etc., trying to find more natural ways to treat our kid? So I actually have a video talking about how we treat colds and remedies in our house. It's probably from 1.5 years ago now, but it's still pretty relevant. We do things such as salt baths with magnesium just to kind of heal the body. We don't actually use over-the-counter meds like the traditional medicine, but you probably knew that if you watched my channel. We treat it more holistically with foods and like things at home. I mean, we do have a holistic practitioner we will see if needed, but most of the time we treat sicknesses at home. So things such as magnesium salt baths with a little drops of iodine, that will help draw out toxins. We have done tofu plaster for fevers, which draws out the fever and the inflammation. Potato socks or potatoes on the chest. Potatoes are really good at drawing out toxins and sicknesses in the body. I've seen people, we actually haven't done the socks, we've done it on our kids' chest, like in a rag pinned to their chest for coughs and congestion. But I've seen some videos of parents whose kids are sick. They put potatoes in their child's sock overnight, and they show the potato before they put it in, like it's a clean, fresh cut potato. And then when they wake up the next morning, the potato is black and brown from pulling out all of those impurities and toxins in their child's body. It's pretty amazing phenomena. Of course, lots of soups with bone broth. I already said bone broth is so healing. So anytime anybody in our family is sick, I whip up some sort of soup full of bone broth, also garlic. That's a go-to for sicknesses. So anytime I make a soup when someone is sick, my kids included, I make a bone broth rich soup with some kind of garlic to really fight off the bacteria. Garlic is truly God's antibiotic to the world. It will remedy so many things, and we live by it as far as sicknesses. So if you want more on how we treat our kids holistically, I'll link that video below. It probably goes into more detail and things that I'm not thinking about right now, because thankfully we don't have to treat sicknesses that often, but I have like a little book of things I've collected and written down of how we treat our kids when they're sick. We also use dried herbs. I make lots of teas for us to sip on, my kids for coughs, chamomile tea, lavender tea. Anyways, that is kind of how we treat it. I don't know if that perfectly answered your question, but there's a lot more details in that video, so I will link it below for you if you want to hear a little bit more on our holistic approach for medicine in our house. What is your go-to breastfeeding snack? I'm always hungry, but I don't always grab for the healthiest snacks. I feel you. Breastfeeding makes you so hungry because you just are burning that many calories. Breastfeeding mamas actually need close to 3,500 to 4,000 calories, and that sounds like a whole lot, but it's true. And if you will nourish your body that way and feed it that, you're not gonna just like load on the pounds. Your body truly needs it to breastfeed your baby and make that milk. So to answer your question, my go-to snack when we have it is dates and raw butter. We don't always have raw butter and we don't always have dates, but that is the best go-to breastfeeding snack. And honey, let me add that. Dates, raw butter, honey, and a sprinkle of cinnamon. Don't knock it till you try it. It is absolutely delicious. But like I said, we don't always have raw butter because we don't have our own cow yet. And we don't always have dates because they're not really in season around here. They're hard to find good quality dates. So my second go-to snack would be any sort of yolky, milky drink. Milk, raw milk, for us is so high in so many minerals and nutrients, and I've heard it before that milk makes milk. My favorite way to make this is probably with an egg yolk. I've seen me make this before. An egg yolk with a little bit of sugar. A lot of times I add a little bit of cacao here to give a chocolate flavor, a splash of vanilla, top it with raw milk, froth it all up. It is the creamiest, sweetest, most delicious breastfeeding snack, and it keeps you really full. Milk is really satisfying and really filling. I also turn to milk a lot for a post-workout drink. It is just the perfect food from God. In its raw form, how he intended us to drink it. So those are my go-to snacks. If you don't eat kind of how we eat on the holistic approach, that may not be like a snack that you would turn to. But that's kind of what we turn to. I don't have any like snacky packaged foods. That's my go-to snack, dates and butter. Definitely try that one. It's so good. What cloth diapers y'all use? I saw you posted a clip of them in your stories. I'm building my registry. I'm a first-time mom. Cloth diapers. We love cloth diapers. We started with disposables with my first child, switched to cloth diapers when he was 8 months, and have not gone back. We currently use the assembly cloth diapers. They are great. They have an inner liner, like a really soft organic cotton inner liner, and an outer cover which holds in all the leaks. However, with this baby, we have not actually been using that many cloth diapers because we are practicing elimination communication where we take her to the bathroom. I did share a video on how we are approaching elimination communication. So I'm washing so many less cloth diapers than I was with my past 2 children. In the past, I'd wash cloth diapers every other day. Now I wash cloth diapers every 4 to 5 to sometimes 6 days. And one more question I was going to answer. What do you do when your baby starts rolling onto stomach for sleep? Okay, so I kind of already answered this in a previous question. We already let our baby sleep on their stomach, but if you do not and your baby's starting to roll, that is their sign that they're ready to sleep on their stomach. At that point, they have enough strength to roll their torso and be able to roll their heads. Honestly, y'all, Eliza here was able to turn her head back and forth at like 3 or 4 days old. I watched her like later in my bed because we were wanting to start tummy sleep. And I always make sure before I start tummy sleep that I can physically see them twist their head back and forth. That's like the signal that I know they're ready. And we don't give babies enough credit. And like I said, I have other beliefs on babies and tummy sleeping and why there's issues there, but we won't go into that here. But if your baby is ready to roll into their stomach, they're ready. If they're starting to do that, don't fight it. That means they are capable, they're strong enough to twist their torso, twist their head. Anyways, if you're worried about that, just trust your baby. If they can roll onto their belly from their back, it's safe for them to do so. That's kind of God's sign that they're ready to sleep in a different position, is just our personal belief. So don't stress about it. I mean, you can watch them and when they roll to their stomach and monitor them if you want to, if that is a worry for you, but I wouldn't worry about it. It's not a concern for us, so at least. So that was all the questions I was going to answer. I hope this was helpful to you guys in this postpartum season. I love sharing this type of stuff. It is truly a passion of mine because I've truly seen so much of a difference in this postpartum season, as well as my past pregnancy, in making lots of these changes that I've shared with y'all. So if you have any further questions, leave them in the comments below, or you can reach out to me on Instagram. I'm very active over there. Like I said, I'll be happy to chat with y'all. I just love connecting and just making new friends here, mom friends, talking about motherhood, babies, postpartum. I just love talking about this. So thank y'all for watching. If you have any more questions that you want me to touch on as far as the postpartum season, I can definitely do another video on this, or just answer them in one of my future videos. So thank y'all so much for being here today, and I will see y'all in a future video.